Today I'm going to show you how to practice fast passage work. The piece I'm going to use as an example is this Mozart Sonata K 311, and here's how the beginning goes. I'm going to focus this video on a section between measures 66 and 78. So only one page and only one passage from this. And what I'm going to show you in today's video is how to practice in rhythmic permutations. Rhythmic permutations just means different variations on the rhythm in order to ensure even fast passage work. This is the secret sauce that I use for practicing fast passage work. This is a piece that I do not play, so I am practicing this in real time along with you. I thought that would be a good idea to show you how I apply this rhythmic permutation practice to a passage that I am not familiar with. A lot of people recommend practicing fast passage work in two-note groupings, like long-short or short-long. That's what this would sound like. This is long short, and this is short long. While that rhythmic variation can be helpful when you're learning something in the early stages, I have not found that to be very helpful when I am actually trying to get speed and when I'm trying to get evenness. What I'm going to show you today is how to work on speed and accuracy in a passage like this. So the passage itself goes. Notice I made a couple mistakes because I'm not very familiar with this passage, but also before I started this video, I went ahead and I figured out all my fingering, I wrote in all my fingering, and I learned the basic notes. This is not a tutorial on how to learn the notes from the ground up. This is after you've learned the notes and you've figured out your fingering, how do you get a passage like this to go faster, to how to be more even and more reliable so that you don't dread it when it's coming up. This is a hard little passage. It's tricky. It's got a lot of interesting and tricky spots in it. And so when I'm playing, I don't want to be feeling like, uh-oh, this thing is about to happen and I hope it goes well. This kind of practice is how to make a section like this bulletproof in performance. The way that practicing in different rhythmic permutations works is that you stop on the first note of every group of four, then you learn that, and then you stop on the second group of every group of four, and you learn that, and then the third note of the group, and then the fourth note of the group. I'm going to show you exactly how I do this, but that's the principle behind it. We have these groupings of four. These are 16th notes, and the goal is to learn it so that it's perfectly even between every part of the beat, between every single note and every other note. Therefore, we have to break it down and practice stopping on each different part of the beat. The first permutation is stopping on the first note of each group of four. So I'm stopping on the G, and then I'm going to the beginning of the next group. I'm going to play the whole passage this way. I'm stopping on the first note of every group of four. Oops. Okay, well, if you make a mistake, you have to fix it right then and there and practice it. That fingering is a little hard for me. I wasn't sure there, and so I decided on one thing. My hand is not used to that. I played it hands together. If that is too challenging for you, then absolutely do just the hand that has the fast passage work. But the reason I'm practicing in hands together is because I need to make sure that the hands stay totally aligned and that I'm practicing playing the hands precisely together. And so I need the left hand to feel where it is with relationship to the right hand beats. Also, notice that I did not play it at the very fast tempo. The first time I went through this, I just focused on internalizing what rhythmic permutation I'm doing, and I made sure that I was going through it in a tempo that I could control and where I could remember to do the fingering. Now I'm going to go through it a second time, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the long note longer. I'm going to pause longer on the long note, and I'm going to go faster on the fast notes. The way that rhythmic permutations work is that the fast notes do need to be at least at the final tempo, because that's the tempo that you want to ultimately play it at. And so if I just go, then the only tempo that I'm really equipped to play this is, and I don't want it to be that tempo, I want it to be much faster than that. So I'm going to now do the second time through, still stopping on the first note of every group of 4. Long pause while I think. I'm preparing the left hand at the same time in the rests. This is that tricky spot, so I'm pausing a little longer to think. I have to get my hand around that 5th finger. It was a little risky to try to use 5 on C, but I'm sticking with it. I'm going to try it. Wait. That jump. Okay. You might have noticed that sometimes I paused for a longer time and sometimes I didn't pause for as long. And the reason that we're pausing in the first place is not to have a break and to rest, but instead it's to make sure that I'm thinking ahead and imagining the next 4 notes. The idea with adding the pause is to be ready when the next fast notes come. And so if I have to sit there for a second and really think it through and think, okay, what's my fingering? What's the next thing I'm going to do before I play? That's better than just pushing yourself to play and then making a mistake and then having to fix it. So we've done 2 repetitions on the first note. We've stopped on the first note of each group of 4 and we did it slowly once and then we did it faster the second time with longer pauses. Now we're going to stop on the second note of every group of 4. This is going to take a little bit of brain work if you haven't ever done this before. It can kind of mess with your brain a little bit. I'm going to do it nice and slowly so you can see how this works. So we're going to still play the left hand with the first note, but I'm stopping on the second. So it's like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4 so you can see where I am in the beat because there's 4 notes per beat. That's why I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm counting 3, 4, 1, 2. 3, 4, 1, 2, because that's the note I'm stopping on. I'm starting in measure 67. And I intentionally chose a long passage so you could really see how to practice an entire section this way. This is not so much a method that you would want to use for just 1 bar, although you could. It's much more effective if you have a long section. All right, for time's sake, I'm going to start in 67. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Going nice and slow. The first time you do this, you're going to have to be thinking pretty hard. I've done this for many, many years, so it's not quite as hard for me. I mean, not on this piece, but generally this kind of practice. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. This isn't as hard for me, so I'm kind of moving it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. A second time, and I'm going to stop for longer on the second notes, and I'm going to play the other 3 notes very quickly, and I'm going to stop on the second note of the next beat. I'll show you what I mean. Oops. Whoops, I missed the 2 on the F sharp, so I'm going to go back and fix that. Yep, I'm going to practice that a little bit. See, that's exposing a little weak spot in the chain. Yeah, one more time and I'll go on. Whoops. Okay, that's stopping on the second note of every group of 3. I'm going to repeat this on the 3rd note and on the 4th note. Here we go. The 3rd note, and notice I'm doing each repetition twice. The first time is just to get used to the pattern and not pushing myself, making sure I'm doing the fingering. And then the second time is the fast playing. Here we are on the 3rd note. By the way, I'm playing at this tempo because I'm comfortable. If you need to go... there's no rule about the slow tempo, right? You've got to figure out the tempo for yourself, what you're comfortable with. The idea is to stay in control and be able to think ahead to what you're about to do rather than let your fingers run away with you. So it's like really fast between, so, oops. Now I have to make sure the left hand is not late because it's playing in the middle of the beat. It has to be lined up really well. Ah! I'm not waiting long. You see, I'm getting impatient. So, think. important thing to keep in mind is that you need to make sure you're actually shaping as you play and that you're doing the musical ideas that you're planning to do in the end game. Now I'm moving on to the fourth note. This is the fourth rhythmic permutation that we are practicing this section. So I'm going to stop on the last note of the group of four. I'm going to do it slowly first. Oops. See, I'm making mistakes at all the same places. That's still that F sharp. That's a problem. So I have to move my hand to get in position. Practicing the. I have to really get over that note. There, the new position. Sped up a little bit, but I don't want to take so much time on the video. Okay, now I'm going to do it fast. Ultimately, my left hand's going to go like this. Therefore, I'm playing all the eighth note staccato. Again, think ahead in the pauses. Don't just go on autopilot. Done 8 repetitions of this passage. I've done 2 repetitions of each rhythmic permutation. Now I'm going to check my work. I'm going to see if it feels easier or if it feels more even. It should feel more even and easier to play. However, I only looked at this a few minutes before I turned the camera on. I haven't been practicing this piece for a long time, so I'm probably still going to make some mistakes. But when I do this on a piece that I've been practicing, then it really fixes those mistakes. But we'll see what happens. Okay. Actually, that went better than I expected it to. I made a mistake on that F sharp that I was showing you. But it actually went pretty well. So you can see how effective this way of practicing is. So as a quick summary, I want to talk about the things to keep in mind as you do these rhythmic permutations. First of all, it's very important to have an even tone. You might have noticed I didn't let notes drop out of the sound. I didn't go like... It was very even tone. That's how we get that feeling of, you know, the pearly 16th notes or the pearly passage work that people talk about. The second thing to keep in mind is to play the hands precisely together. Don't let your left hand shift over a 16th note and don't let your left hand be late. I mean, if it's something like this where you have even passage work in one hand and then the other hand has to keep coming in after rest, it's very easy for this to become, like if I'm stopping on the third of the group of 4, that becomes late. Because I'm not anticipating it. So it has to be totally together. Very important, because if it's not together when you're doing the rhythmic permutations, it won't be together when you are playing it fast in context. Another thing to keep in mind is to shape as you are planning to shape. Don't let yourself grow numb to the musicality of the passage. Don't let the exercise become just a mechanical thing where you turn your brain off. As a matter of fact, your brain should be more engaged when you do an exercise like this. It should take a lot of concentration. When I do this kind of practice on a passage, I'm actually mentally fatigued afterwards if I've done it right. So you need to embrace the fact that it's going to be challenging and focus as you play it. Really make sure you're shaping the way you want, that you're phrasing the way you want, you're playing evenly, and that you are listening to all the notes and making sure that it's good tone. Another very important thing to keep in mind for this kind of practice is that the long note is not an opportunity to rest and recover. It's an opportunity to think ahead and imagine the next 4 notes. I'm not just going and like hanging out and like, okay, I guess I'm going to play 4 more notes now. And like, okay, I guess I'll play 4 more. Actually, what I'm thinking is, I'm actually imagining the next 4 notes in my head. I'm thinking in my head, ba-da-da-dum, and then I play, and then I think, ba-da-da-dum, and I imagine how it's going to feel, da-ya-da-da-dum, da-da-da-dum. That's what I'm doing in those pauses. If you think ahead on the long notes, that is going to be the difference between feeling like this exercise is super helpful or where it's an exercise that didn't help you as much. And then 2 more quick things to keep in mind. Make sure that you do each permutation twice. Even though I've been doing this kind of practice for many years, I still practice it twice for each permutation. I do it 1 time through just to get my bearings, and then the 2nd time through really focusing on speed and evenness. Also, the tempo of the fast notes needs to be at least the final tempo that you are shooting for. There's no point in doing this and expecting yourself to be able to play it at a brilliant fast tempo if the fast notes in this exercise are not actually at least at that tempo. Something to keep in mind though is this is not a one and done exercise. You don't do this one day and then say, okay, it's all perfect. You need to practice it daily for several days to solidify it. So do it 8 times every time, and you'll find that it really makes a passage like this rock solid. You can also apply rhythmic permutations to technical exercises like scales. You can play scales 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and then stop on the 2nd note. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And do that all the way through, stopping on the 3rd note, stopping on the 4th note of each group. That can help with evenness in your scale passages as well. When I've shown this to my students and worked with them on their fast passage work, it has been a game changer for them. They have found mastery in their ability to play long, sustained passages, and they have felt like it really made them much more confident. Playing passage work like this requires a strong technical foundation. I made a series of videos about the foundations of piano technique that I teach to my students. I'll share a link to the playlist right up there. You can also download the practice companion that goes with that series of videos. It's about 20 pages and it's free, and I'll put the link in the description below this video. If you liked this video and found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up, please share it with somebody, and please subscribe to my channel. This helps me reach more viewers. Thank you so much for watching. Good luck with your fast passage work. I think you'll really enjoy this practice method. And happy practicing!